And Paul McBeth on the tee to start this gorgeous Saturday afternoon right here for the Memorial Championships. Welcome everyone, you're watching live disc golf from Fountain Hills.
Representing Dude Clothing, Grip and Disc Mania, two-time European Player of the Year, Simon Lizotte.
I think that's going to be short, and it is. Lizotte is in the water on the tee of hole 1.
Third on the tee from Asheville, North Carolina, representing Adidas, Pound, and Innova champion discs, Nate Sexton.
Nate Sexton up over the water, finds himself in bounds.
Rounding out the lead card from Fort Mill, South Carolina, playing for Latitude 64, the current world champion, Richard Wysocki.
And freshly named Richard here today, Ricky Wysocki on the tee. And a great tee shot it is. Wysocki's heading toward the basket just on the upper side. He'll be looking downhill. Simon Lizotte will be throwing for 3 after going OB.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a retee.
Simon wondering if he did it again. And trying to take the 3. Simon Lizotte with some near heroics on hole 1. We've got coverage from the women and a word from our sponsors. We'll be back in a few moments. And McBeth first to strike. He's going to take the lone birdie here on hole number 1. Wysocki and Nate Sexton will be tapping in for their 3s. And Simon Lizotte, after hitting the basket for his penalty 3, is going to walk off with a bogey 4. We've got a very brief walk with not much backup. Sexton's forehand out over the water, sits into the center of the fairway. Great shot by Nate Sexton. Ricky Wysocki to tee 3rd. And Wysocki's will be doing just the same. Right into the center of the fairway on this 703-foot par 4. Simon opts for the wide hyzer, taking it up the right side, also center fairway. We've got action from the women throughout this entire round. Let's get to that, and we'll be back in just a few moments. We feel a light wind pushing from left to right, and McBeth gets stopped by the lone tree near the basket. Angle very crucial here as Lizotte carries around the right side tree and gently finishes left. And Sexton may have had that water in the back of his mind as he let that go a little bit early. He was hoping to hang it wider left. Nate Sexton is inside circle 2. There is a slope directly behind the basket, and he's faced with a headwind with water approximately 30 feet behind the pin. And McBeth from 38 feet. Wysocki much closer, also in for the birdie 3. Sexton with a lone par as Lizotte taps in. We're through 2 holes. We'll be back with you in a few moments after a word from our sponsors on hole number 3. And McBeth comes up short here on this 294-foot hole. Wysocki making it look very easy. The gallery's got to make sure to clear out of the way here, and that comes just inside the keen wall. And the third of 4 going with a forehand here on hole number 3. We've got coverage from the women's round on hole 3. We'll be back in a moment. And from just inside the keen wall, and McBeth remains perfect, 3 for 3 through 3 holes. And Nate Sexton in. .463 feet downhill. McBeth hanging it out over the OB, finding himself down the hill. And a very similar line by Wysocki, maybe a little more power.
Whoa!
Wysocki is happy with it. The gallery applauds. They love it. And Lizotte is unsure of the result. Sexton's is up, and neither Lizotte or Wysocki know that their discs have rolled into the road. Well, we'll be back with the women's coverage right here on hole 4. We'll see you on the green in just a few moments. He did, in fact, bring it in the 1 meter. However, I could not see, even standing here, if he was, in fact, in bounds. It looks as if he was. And Lizotte was marked with a flag, so I'm guessing he was OB. We've got a long walk over to hole number 5 again. Paul, 4 for 4 to start. And 372 feet between him and the tee. Ricky Wysocki also throwing a mid-range, as McBeth just did. And like Paul, Ricky playing to the slightly fatter side of the fairway here on the left side. Simon's gently drifting left. And I believe it was last year we saw Sexton play this off of the open air shelter. And this year he's come in long. And McBeth with an errant putt, left side, high chain and out. And ever so softly in. We have a very brief walk over to hole 6. We'll be back with you in a few moments after a word from our sponsors. From the berm of 6 here at Fountain Hills. Ricky goes with the spike hyzer to the right side. And Lizotte, a little more right, comes in. Lizotte is waiting patiently on the tee for some kind of indication. Paul also comes in with hyzer. And Sexton's up. And it looks to be a good shot. Sexton hitting the pole. Lizotte also in for the easy birdie. McBeth left with 10 feet. And 4 attempts, 4 birdies. A brief walk over to the short hole number 7. We'll be back in a few moments after a word from our sponsors right here from Fountain Hills. Ricky with an overstable mid-range, I believe. And then it has gone deep, and Ricky is OB. Simon with a putter. Next to the basket, parked by Lizotte. And Sexton with a dart. And that is also OB. We have women's coverage right here from hole 7 in just a moment. And that sits down for McBeth after being OB off the tee. And Wysocki maintaining balance. There is going to be a backup on hole number 8. Our players will be clearing out. And Simon with the lone birdie. He's going to pick up strokes on the rest of the group here with the lone birdie. This is the shortest hole at Fountain Hills. And you're ultimately seeing the group play it over par despite Lizotte's birdie. Lizotte just gave us a little bit of thumbs up and a props for the coverage. We hope you guys are enjoying it. We're right here for the final round of Championship Saturday at the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. We'll be back after a word from our sponsors on hole number 8. On 8.
Go, Rick.
And the long par 4 hole 8. Tee shots are complete. We'll be back with you in a few moments with coverage.
Nice and gentle. Oh, almost jumps up and hits the basket, takes a nasty roll, but stays inbounds. Green flag from the spotter.
And Wysocki has a forehand approach from one knee, and that sits down a little bit more flat as it comes in. And McBeth trying to cash in on the eagle from way downtown. Nate Sexton putting from the green with the fountain going off behind him. Ricky making easy work here for the 3. McBeth does the same, as will Simon Lizotte. Nearly perfectly played here on hole number 8. Wysocki heading toward the larger part of the peninsula green on the right side.
Be right. Be right.
And a moan in the gallery from the tee area. Sexton's approach is lower and right as he chases a birdie away from him on the tee. We've got more women's footage. We'll rejoin them right here on hole 9. And as expected, Nate Sexton with that gentle Sexton touch that we see and hear so often. This is Ricky. And Ricky from Circle 2's edge.
A pretty important putt from Paul going into the back 9.
Sexton can put this in for his 3. And a solid 3 by Sexton. I've been notified that we do have women's footage for the rest of the round, so look for that as we move down each and every fairway, thanks to the tireless efforts of Corey at Central Coast Disc Golf along with Steve Dodge. Just 9 holes to play as we conclude Championship Saturday right here at the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. Hole 10, 381 feet. And McBeth comes in with a tighter line on that.
Yeah.
And after filtering through the trees, we find McBeth just 20 feet deep of the pin. The gallery on the tee likes, and also about 20 feet from the pin. Good looking shot coming in by Lizotte. We'll see if it can get through the trees. And in fact, knocked down and on circle's edge. And Lizotte off the number plate here from about 35 feet, just outside Circle 1's edge. Sexton with the birdie too. McBeth, again, just about 20 feet, maybe a little less from the pin. He's going to pick up a stroke on the rest of the card, except for Sexton. Sexton and McBeth in for the birdies. Lizotte and Wysocki are going to walk away with pars. We're on to the back nine. You're enjoying live disc golf right here with the Disc Golf Pro Tour at the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. We'll see you in a moment. Hole 11 at 390 feet. Paul is hyzering to the basket, fighting the uphill slope. Sexton's is lower and a little more right. He gets a good skip forward. He may have to navigate of the two guardian trees. And Wysocki's is left. That's heading toward. And Lizotte's is right. He's going to hope for a skip. That grass is a little long, and he's looking straight downhill. We've got more action from the women. Hole 11, back in a moment. High likelihood of it getting up and rolling. We've seen it year after year. And that is not the landing that Ricky was hoping to stick. Unfortunately, that is not in for the birdie, and it does not count. Beth and Sexton will have short tap-ins. Simon Lizotte picking up a stroke on the entire card. We've got more action coming up on hole 12 after a word from our sponsors. And McBeth's mid-range is drifting left. And Sexton's drive is short up over the hillside. Ricky Wysocki's mid-range is coming in nicely, and we see him left of the pin. And McBeth did not think he had enough. A little bit of a grin as he moves toward the basket. He got away with one coming in low on the DGA Mach X. He's going to extend his lead over Lizotte by one. We'll be back with you in a few moments for the last 1/3 of Championship Saturday right here at the Discraft Memorial Championships in Fountain Hills. Hole 13 plays to an elevated green. Players will go for a low skip shot just as McBeth has done, and it comes in and almost touches the pedestal, keeping the basket up in the air. McBeth will be looking at no more than 6 to 8 feet. I believe he's got a higher putt upward than he does inward. Feel a gentle breeze over my back shoulder as I sit near the green, giving the players a very light headwind as they're throwing these low skip shots. This one comes in a little bit higher and comes in nicely to within 15 feet. Nate Sexton on the previous hole was nearly worked. A passerby was in some capacity opening his bottled fermented beverage, and the bottle cap shot straight up in the air and nearly landed on Sexton on the tee. And a gentle groan from the crowd as Wysocki comes up short. We saw Nate recollect himself on the tee on hole number 12, and then ultimately hit the 38-foot birdie putt. Simon Lizotte is just within 3 feet of Nate Sexton. And Nate Sexton is in. I was doing my best to give you my John Madden obvious quotes of the day. Successfully telling you that holes will be running out as we get from holes 14 through 18. Ricky Wysocki running out of time here if he's going to try and keep pace with McBeth and Lizotte. And McBeth is in 3 birdies and a par correction by Ricky Wysocki. We'll be back in a few moments from the elevated tee on hole 14. McBeth with a high, wide hyzer that's coming in behind the pin. Just around the back of the pin, rolled to great position. He's going to like that. And Nate opts for the forehand, bringing him up short and right. Also going wide right, going to play the skip, and that filters to the left side. And a check stop bounce from the electrical box just right of the pin.
Yeah, it's the one tree on this hole, and the slope of the green doesn't make it any easier. Simon's lining up for a nice 2 from long distance, makes the putt.
And I apologize, sounds like too much birdie interference as I stepped away from our cameraman. We're watching 4 birdie tap-ins, correction, 3 birdie tap-ins, and a long putt by Simon Lizotte. I call everything that Simon makes a tap-in. Exciting 4 for 4 on 14. We'll be back in a moment from the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. Paul asking for that to sit down at Carey's left. And Nate Sexton's carrying over the center tree, tracking toward the pin. Great shot here by Nate Sexton. And Simon Lizotte plays the slight hyzer that's coming up toward the pin and parked near the basket. And Ricky's also tracking. Little skip. Again, just the few trees found here on hole number 15 are enough to provide obstacles on the green. Ricky will tap in, as will Lizotte. Paul walking by very frustrated at his effort. And we're going to have a very brief walk over here to hole number 16. Paul and Nate each losing a stroke. And Nate taps in. And Simon Lizotte drawing medal. Ricky Wysocki second to tee. A pair of skips by Wysocki. He feels as if he misfired. It looks to work out just fine. And that dances around for Paul McBeth as it rolls back toward the basket. This hole coming in statistically as one of the easiest holes of the weekend. Playing for the skip from the right side will be Nate Sexton. And Nate Sexton's effort is low. Wysocki converts here on hole 16. And Paul McBeth also with a birdie. Sexton will be tapping in for his par, possibly ending his chance at a run here unless some form of meltdown takes place, and Simon is in. We're going to wrap it up. We're moving over to the tee of 17. Just 2 holes left to play at the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. A loud screech for Simon Lizotte. And he needs that to push further left. He's going to have a long putt for birdie. Paul's hoping that's going to sit down or stick. Said it catches edge and skips left. Much lower angle by Nate Sexton. He's looking to bring that in and have it skip toward the pin. It's doing just that. And he's deep. And Paul McBeth catches right side chain. He lifts the leg for a little body English and it drops in. He's going to have a 2-stroke advantage moving into hole number 18. Simon Lizotte will stand down as Nate Sexton is next to putt. Nate Nate Sexton cards the birdie too. Nate, your runner-up here in 2016. Lizotte keeps it within 2. Wysocki will have a tap in for birdie. And we are at the 72nd hole of the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. We'll be back in just a few moments. Stay tuned. You're watching live disc golf on SmashBoxxTV. And it seems as if he may have even slipped on that tee. That is heading hard left. I'm not sure that's going to stop. And Wysocki is OB. And Paul knows he can play safe here. All he needs is a par. Unless Simon Lizotte were to ace. And Nate Sexton tracking nicely. Forehand finish. And the obligatory get in the hole call from off on the side. Wysocki saves the par after going OB on hole 18. Simon Lizotte has a birdie attempt, but too little, too late. Of course, a solid performance by Simon Lizotte coming back from injury. And Nate Sexton, which is 10 feet. Sexton moves in. And Paul McBeth, McMorial, will tap in. Ricky Wysocki with the congratulations. Travel buddy Nate Sexton, Simon Lizotte. The battles continue here in
7, Memorial Champion, Paul McBeth. Oh, 2017, oh my God. 2017 Memorial Champion.
Keith Murray with the call. Everyone out there is watching. Congratulations on your performance this weekend. They watched it this entire round. How did it feel for you?
I felt really good. Finally to finish off strong.
What was the round like for you? You came out here, you had a little bit of a lead, but this course can come out and bite you.
Yeah.
What was your strategy?
Play aggressive on certain holes, other holes that I wasn't feeling confident on, just kind of play them safe. But for the most part, I feel like I played pretty aggressive.
And what do you think, now that you've started this 2017 campaign, you're 5 for 5, you've played in 5 events, you've won all 5 events, what can you attribute that to?
Just confidence and support, really. I don't think that I will lose this year. The course might beat me, or I might beat myself, but I don't think I'll lose the tournament.
We've seen you challenged by, of course, the 4-time world champ, Valerie Jenkins, Sarah Holcomb, Katrina Allen. Do you have just a little bit more momentum or maybe confidence than them right now?
Like I said, I just feel so supported, and that's just a huge confidence boost. And also just, I don't know, when you feel supported and you feel happy, it's just like you're just throwing frisbees in a park. And so it just seems like easy.
It seems easy.
Yeah.
Well, Paul McBeth didn't have it quite as easy as you, but we've called him the McMorial champion here again.
McMorial.
What have you seen as you took in the final few holes out here on the men's side? What a battle.
Yeah, it was awesome. I knew it was going to be intense for sure, and the wind started picking up like right when we finished. So I was like, wow, it's going to be crazy till the last hole, and it was. Yeah, it was crazy. McBeth didn't really give them much room to catch him, though.
He really doesn't. I believe that's 5 times in 7 or 8 years. How can anyone, if there's a guy out there trying to come up in the ranks, how can they possibly challenge someone like McBeth?
Birdie everything. Just kidding. No, you got to get it close, really. You really do.
All right. Well, Paige Pierce, congratulations on another victory here in 2017. We'll see you in a few weeks at the Disc Golf Pro Tour in Waco, Texas.
Yep, I'll be there.
All right, she'll be there. Thanks,
Thank
Paige.
you.
Have a good one. We're going to welcome in our champion, sitting at 40 under par. Rarely do you have the opportunity where you can just simply lay up the final hole and still come in a stroke with the victory. Congratulations. How's it feel?
I think it feels good. I mean, even laying it up on this last hole with 2 strokes is scary because you know they can put it in. It's a reachable final hole, so I took my chances, but Simon put it close.
Well, let's talk about Simon Lizotte. He's fresh off of the injury. He comes back, and he proves he's picking up right where he left off.
Yeah, he came into this tournament with no expectations, and that's what I like to preach, you know, and people are like, how do you get rid of nerves? Just go in with no expectations. That's what Simon did, and he just played his game, and it worked out well. I mean, he was only, 1 back, so.
Well, you've had a lot of support. Talk about being here this week and what it means to come here and dominate this tournament like you've done for the last nearly half a decade.
Yeah, it feels great coming out here. You know, I mean, I'm from California, so it's not too far. This is only about 6 hours, so I've been here a bunch. And it's always great to come out here and play. These courses, you know, they're not the longest courses, but they're definitely challenging with the water and stuff like that. I lost 2 discs out there today, so it's definitely challenging, but it's fun. And then you come out here and it's March or late February, and it's 80 degrees, so it's awesome.
Well, it's been great. Please go ahead and give us any shout-outs or thanks that you'd like to give to everyone from the Disc Golf Pro Tour and watching on SmashBoxx.
Yeah, I mean, this is just the beginning of the Pro Tour, so, I mean, there's 10 stops. I hope to be at 7 of them at least, or, 6 in there, so keep on watching. Thankful for you guys for being here and Disc Golf Pro Tour for putting this on for us and making us want to play even more and getting us out there even more, traveling the parts that we haven't been to too often.
All right. Well, he's nearly unbeatable here in Arizona. This has been Paul McBeth, your champion this year. Congrats, of course, to Paige Pierce once again on the women's side. I'd like to take a moment to thank our amazing staff and crew, Chad Inman on the camera, along with Rick Hushane, Gary to the O, and Johnny V back at the controls, Steve Dodge and the rest of the Pro Tour, as well as the entire staff here at the Memorial Championships presented by Discraft. We'll see you guys next time when you step inside the SmashBoxx.